Here's an introduction to working out the area of rectangles and triangles. Firstly, what does area measure? Well, it's got something to do with shapes. So let's have a look at this rectangle. Just think for a moment about how you would describe area. What is it measuring? Okay. Well, I would say that area measures the size of the inside of the shape. It's the inside, that blue area in the middle. And the shape is always divided into squares, for example, square centimetres. So when we measure area, we're measuring inside the shape and we use squares to measure it. Wonder how many squares this rectangle will be. Okay, there's a row of 6 squares. What do you think the total area will be? Just try and work out how many, and then we'll find out. 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. So it's going to be more than 12. You might have a better idea now, or you might think you're going to be right. Finish it off. 15, 16, 17, 18. So the area of this rectangle is 18 squares, and it might be 18 square centimetres, for example, if they were square centimetres. So area measures the inside of the shape using squares. Let's have a look at the area of a rectangle. How do we work it out? Well, we could count the squares like we just did inside the rectangle. We've got 18 squares. Or we could take a shortcut and use a formula. Sometimes it's not always possible to divide a rectangle into squares, especially around your house or wherever you're doing the area calculation. It might be just easier to use this formula. If that's 6 centimetres, there's a row of 6 along the bottom. And it's 3 centimetres high, so there's 3 rows of 6. So it's a row of 6 along the bottom, another row of 6 along the middle, and another row of 6 along the top. So it's 3 lots of 6. So rather than count, we can multiply 3 lots of 6 or 6 lots of 3. Here's the formula. Area equals length times width. So length is 6, it's 6 squares long and 3 squares high. 6 times 3. You can write it as L times W, A equals L times W, and just put the values in each time. In this case, A equals 6 centimetres times 3 centimetres, so A equals 18 square centimetres. Don't forget to put that little square 2 on the end. Often people forget. Alright, what about a triangle now? There's a nice blue triangle there. How do we work out the area? Have a think about it. We could count the squares inside the triangle, but trust me, if you divided that one into squares, it'd be difficult because you'd have parts of squares because of the angle of that diagonal line. It'd be cutting some squares into pieces or parts. Makes that pretty tough. So I would prefer to use a formula. It's related to the formula of a rectangle or a parallelogram, but let's just use that rectangle example for today. So there's our rectangle again, and we know from our previous question the area is 18 squares. So have a think about it. Look at the blue triangle. If the rectangle is 18 squares, how big do you think the blue triangle is? What's its area going to be? Tough to count the squares, but you might be able to work out what part of the rectangle it is. Remember, it's 6 centimetres. We'll say it's centimetres and 3 centimetres. So 6 lots of 3 goes 18 for the whole rectangle. What fraction of the rectangle is the triangle? It's half. Now the words we could use area equals length times width, but then halve it or divide by 2. But the words that we generally use for the area of a triangle, just because the triangles are all different sort of orientations and shapes, it's safer to use base times perpendicular height divided by 2. People usually just write base times height divided by 2. Okay, but it's the perpendicular height. We'll talk about that a little bit more in the lesson. So when you write it, you usually write A equals B times H divided by 2. You put in the values, 6 centimetres times 3 centimetres divided by 2. So the area is 9 square centimetres. So you might have got that right. We knew it was 18 for the rectangle. So if you halved it, you got 9 square centimetres. Alright, in summary, that was just a quick introduction. Area measures the size of the inside of the shape. The shape is always divided into squares, for example, square centimetres. The area of a rectangle, we usually say it's equal to length times width. If you've been taught length times breadth or base times height, those sort of things are okay, not a problem. And the area of a triangle equals base times height divided by 2. Thank you.